Hello, welcome back to Larry Thompson's house. We're just getting moved in here. I had to throw all them drip pans from the stove away. I got the oven cleaned and got it lined with aluminum foil. And I'm getting ready to take my shop vac, some SOS pads, and get this top cleaned out real good and put me some new drip pans back in there tomorrow with my burners. We're working with a hot plate and the oven that I was able to clean. I'm scheduled to have my water turned on tomorrow, and we're still unpacking. And I thought I would share another recipe with you. And it ain't no fun to cook with somebody else without a little story time. Here in Grant County, Indiana, back years ago, they had some wildcat oil drillers come up in here drilling for oil all over this county. And they hit a bunch of artesian wells while they was drilling for oil. And they actually did hit some natural gas in a community here in this county. We call it Gas City. But they got one artesian well left out there at the battlefield on government property. And I go out there with my empty water jugs and collect water to cook with and do dishes with and stuff while I'm waiting to have my water turned on. And I thought I would just share that story with you. That water out there has got natural minerals in it and iron contents, stuff like that. So it's different, than using the city water. When I was raising my kids, I used to go out there and get a couple of jugs of it just to cook some beans and stuff for the kids because it has such a different taste to it. But anyway, my water will be turned on tomorrow, and I want to share another recipe with you today. Again, we ain't been to the store, we ain't spent no money, and we're just going to wing it. Just meatloaf here with the items we got in our kitchen. And I'm going to start with this pack of hamburger. They had it reduced $3 so they could sell it, and they sold it. And, I like to go out there to the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, and they got those little cheap plastic containers with lids. And this is going to be a big meatloaf for one man, for a single guy. But, what I don't eat, I portion out in those plastic containers with lids. And you can only freeze meat one time. Once you freeze it and unthaw it, you got to use it. But once you cook it, once it's prepared, then you can freeze that for a second time and safely do that. So we're going to start with our hamburger. And I'm just going to mix it in the dish I intend to cook it with because I don't want to dirty a bunch of dishes. I don't get my water turned on until tomorrow, and there'll be plenty of dishes tomorrow for me to do. So I'm just going to mix this right in the dish I plan to cook it in. And I have prepared one chopped onion. And we're going to put a chopped onion in here. And I took the last bit of the jalapeno peppers. I chopped them up real fine, real small. And we're going to put them in here because I like a little spice. I don't know if that's normal to put a few chopped peppers in a meatloaf or not, but we're going to do that today. I've just got not very many. Now, eggs in a meatloaf, that's what binds everything together to where when it's cooked, it just don't crumble and fall apart. That's what the eggs are for. And I don't have crackers today. I've always used saltine crackers for meatloaf, but I had a lady friend that was cooking meatloaf for me one day, and she didn't have no crackers. And I seen her take some instant Quaker oats, and that's what she used instead of crackers, uh, to bind the meatloaf with eggs. And I've never seen nobody do that before. But the meatloaf she cooked with the Quaker oats in there, it was actually a very good meatloaf. And we don't have crackers today. And when I do these recipes like this, I like to work with what's available in the kitchen. What I've got, I can make it work. And I picked these home style power oats up at a food bank. I've had them for several months. They've never been opened. But that's just oatmeal that's grind very, very fine. It's like a powder. They grind it down real fine like a powder, but it's just oatmeal. That's all it is. And the U.S. government suggests, excuse me, U.S. government suggests that oats once a day for kids and elderly people is heart strong. It gives you a healthy heart, and it's healthy for you. So using this in my meatloaf, it's going to work as good as saltine crackers. If I had crackers, I would be using them, but we're going to use this today. Let's see if I think I got some scissors. Now again, I don't measure things. I just add what I think I need, and then if I need to add a little extra, I'll do that. But this is what we're going to use today, is these real fine ground up oats. It's power oats is what the bag says. And we're going to start with that amount. And a lot of people use 1 egg, a lot of people use 2 eggs. And the eggs help bind this, like I said. So today we're going to put 3 of them in here. And normally on a meatloaf this size, I would use a tablespoon of salt and blend it all in together real good. And that's what we're going to do today. Now, I demonstrated on the last video how I measure salt. I really don't measure salt or food, because I can tell by what I'm putting in there on how much I need. But today now I imagine I got a tablespoon in my hand, and I put what I think is a tablespoon in my hand. Put it right in there. Now that's all the ingredients that we're going to use today. And just like making homemade biscuits, people I've watched over the years just wash their hands very good, and soap and water. Make sure your hands is nice and clean. Just like making biscuits, just fall in on it. Just fall in on it. And I'm gonna stand here and blend this all together. And let me preheat my oven to 350. So I don't have my apron on today, so I got to be extra careful. But I'm just gonna go at it. We're gonna work this together, work it up real good. Make sure everything's blended. Make sure the salt and stuff is evenly portioned out. I've already determined that need to add a little bit more of that oatmeal in here. I've already determined that, so let's put a little more in here. I might try to have some of that for my breakfast in the morning, since I've got it open like that. Yeah, I like those little containers, the plastic ones, because when I cut this meatloaf later, I'll leave out whatever I think I'm going to use for dinner and maybe a snack tonight. I'll portion the rest of it out in those containers with the lids and put them in the freezer. I'll most likely be able to make 3 or 4 meals out of this, depending on whether I got company or not. And so that's the way I do that. And once you bring food home from the store, these meats, and you freeze it, you only get one shot. You only get one try. And when you unthaw that, you can't just put it back in the freezer for a second time. But cooked food is different. Once you cook it, and you want to portion that out and put some of it back in the freezer, because that's okay to do that after it has been cooked. But you only get one opportunity to freeze meat. Once you unthaw it, you use it. You got to use it. We're going to use it today. Like I said, I'm going to get my water turned on tomorrow. And I have to do all my dishes up, all my laundry up. And so I'm going to just clean my hands real good with the towel after I get this put together the way I want it. And normally I would quarter up about 3 or 4 potatoes. I take a whole potato and cut it in 4 pieces after I peel it, and I would stack them around this meatloaf here with onions, but I put onions in the meatloaf. But normally I would put quarter cut size potatoes around this meatloaf. That way I can cook the potatoes with it. And normally I would pour a little whole milk in around this meatloaf, because that cooks with a little milk in here. That adds an extra flavor to this meatloaf. I really like it that way if I had milk to put around it, but we don't today. We're not going to get bent out of shape because we ain't got no milk to put around it. And I'm not going to put no potatoes around it either. But just using available kitchen items that I got. You know, I cut corners. We didn't put the traditional saltine crackers in here and do any of that. But what I am going to do is, since my water won't be turned on tomorrow, I'm just going to clean my hands up with one of these old towels. And tomorrow I'll throw it in the washer and get it cleaned up. I'd be glad to go get those drip pans tomorrow to put in this cook stove. Once I get it all cleaned up real nice, I'll be able to go back to using my cook stove. I've been using a hot plate, which works okay. And I did get the oven cleaned real good, so I've been able to use the oven on the stove. And believe it or not, I've got a little water in the sink, and I will wash my hands up here in a little bit when this video is over. I got that towel prepared for the laundry. So let's see what we got in the refrigerator. Looks like we've got a little bit of ketchup, and we're going to use that today. I like to put ketchup on the top of my meatloaf. You know that ketchup will dry up and leave a nice topping on this meatloaf. But I wanted to share with you today's dinner. And there it is. When it's done cooking, and I slice this up, I'll do another short video to show you what the outcome was. And because I just like to make sandwiches with my meatloaf, I'm not going to fix no sides or anything to go with this. I'll slice that up and we'll make some sandwiches with it. And I'll be able to portion that out in those plastic containers that I get for $1 a piece out there at the Dollar Tree. Seal the lid on the cooked portions and put it back in the freezer. I'll be able to make 3 or 4 meals out of this. Anytime I want me a meatloaf sandwich, I'll drag a little container out of the freezer, let it unthaw. We'll go straight to the microwave with it. But you folks have a great day today. We're going to get this in the oven, and I'm going to come back with a short video and show you how this turns out.